everyone, welcome back to Daisy's Dolls. In this video, I'm finally doing another tutorial, so I'm going to be showing you how to make several different props and accessories for your barn to make it look nicer and more realistic. One small thing before we start the video, did you know that around 80% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed? It's kind of crazy, so if you do watch my videos and enjoy them, please do just hit that red button and you will be notified whenever I put out a new video. Alright, let's head over to the craft table. So to make a container of feed or supplements, I'm going to be using one of those pots you get in paint kits. I'm going to cut off one of them, then remove the remaining paint. Then I'm going to cut off the other plastic bits, so we just have the plain bucket and lid at the end. Now that it's nice and clean, I'm going to find a label to put on it. The way I usually get my labels is that I search it up online, then I print it out. But if you don't have access to a printer, you can also look in horse magazines and cut out labels from there. I like this label, so I'm going to copy it, then put it into a Word document. I try my best to make it the right size, then I print it out on the best quality. I double check that it's the right size for my container, then I cut the logo out. I'm using Bison kit glue to stick the logo onto the container. When that's done, I mix up some acrylic paint in the color of my choice. I chose green. Then I'm going to give the lid a couple layers of that to make it opaque. Then to finish it up, I went into my mother's pantry and found this kind of thing that kind of looked like supplement powder. So I poured that into my container and then it's done. For this next craft, you want to go over to Instagram, over to the profile link heart, then click on the link in her bio. And here you can see she has a bunch of printables, so choose one of them you like, then print them out in the correct scale. Then I'm going to carefully cut it out. Then I'm using this craft knife to precisely fold on the guidelines. Then I'm going to apply some glue to this small narrow tab. Then fold it over and glue it in place like this. Close up the bottom by gluing down the tabs. Now the basic feed bag is done. To make it look like it's full, I'm going to stuff it with some cotton. Then I'm folding it like this. Using a needle and thread, I'm going to actually sew the opening shut. I'm using the back stitch, which I think gives it a nice effect. When I'm done, I'm just cutting the threads. I'm mixing 1 part glue and 1 part water. Then I'm going to paint that mixture all over the bag to give it a semi-shiny effect. And here it is done! I like to scrunch it up a little bit to make it look more worn and realistic. For this next craft, I'm going to be using Fimo polymer clay. I'm mixing red and yellow to get a nice carrot orange. When it's thoroughly mixed, I'm going to roll it out on a flat surface until it reaches a carrot-like shape. I'm poking a small hole into the thicker end of the carrot. Then I'm adding some slight wrinkles and details to the carrot to make it feel more real. When all that's done, I'm baking my carrot according to the instructions on my clay's packaging. For the carrot top, I'm going to be using this fake moss, and I'll just cut off a small bit of it. Then I'm using Loctite super glue to glue that onto the carrot. And then it is done. For the next one, I'm also going to be using polymer clay. I break off a small chunk, then I start kneading it to make it soft. Using a makeshift rolling pin, I am making it flat like this. Then I'm using a ruler to shape it into a soft square. Now, using an X-Acto knife, I'm going to cut off one of the corners of the square. Then, using the part I cut out, I'm going to roll that into a thin snake. Then I'm placing that back onto our square. Next up, I'm using the tiniest amount of yellow and rolling that into a ball. Then I'm placing that onto the raised part of the square. While I'm waiting for that to harden in the oven, I'm going to look for a label for it. I searched for horse supplement oil and scrolled down until I found one that I like. Then of course I print it out. After a few minutes in the oven, it's now completely hardened. So I'm going to cut out the label that we just printed out and then gluing it on. One thing that looks really good in stables are posters. So I'm looking up different posters of the horse's anatomy and vet posters. Then I'm printing those out. Then you can tape or glue those onto your stable wall, and they take up a bit of space and look really nice. Next up are these horse shampoos, fly sprays, etc. Now, I would show you how to make these, but Desktop Stables already got you covered there. You can search for desktopstables.com, then head over to her printable page. Then you can click on Mini Bathing Supplies, and here you have the tutorials as well as the link to the printables. Another thing Desktop Stables has to offer are these really cute miniature magazines. Again, it's as simple as heading over to her website, then clicking on the magazines page, and here you have the tutorial as well as the printables. Next up, you might have seen this little calendar in the back of some of my videos, and truth is, I've had it for a long time and I still really like using it. I actually made it by following the tutorial by YouTube creator Yolanda Meow. I'd say it's relatively easy to make, so I'd really recommend it. Next up, I'm going to grab a small chunk of polymer clay in yellow. Then I'm kneading it and forming it into a ball. Then I'm going to lightly press the ball down to make it flat. And bake. While that is baking, I'm going to find a label. So I search for Phoebe's saddle soap, then I scroll down until I find a picture that can be used for a label, and then I print that out. I carefully cut the label out. I apply some glue, then stick it onto the baked clay. And the tiny saddle soap is done. To make show ribbons, I am searching them up on Google, then finding appropriate pictures, then of course printing them out. Then I'm going to very carefully cut them out, and that will make a very simple decorative ribbon for your stable. For this next one, I am searching up horse show diploma, and then again, of course, printing it out. I'm now cutting out a small rectangle of some thin cardboard. Then I'm gluing on some white paper. Then I'm going to stick on the small diploma that we just printed out. Then I'm going to take this simple medal I made using clay, wire, silver paint, and ribbon. And I'm gluing that on the side of the diploma. And that's how you make a simple little diploma display. Now we've come to the very last craft, and we're going to be using female clay again. I'm laying out a small blob onto my table, then I'm using my fingers and a needle to slowly make it look like a horse head. This part is honestly not easy, and I'm no expert. I'm kind of just doing it pretty roughly, and as long as you get the gist of what it's supposed to be, then it's fine. When I'm done, I'm just putting it to the side for now. Next up, I am rolling out a thin snake of clay. Then I am bending it into a horseshoe shape. Then I am flattening it and also giving it small indentations along the sides. Then I'm placing the little horse head on top of the horseshoe. Now I'm going to make a base for it to stand on. I'm going to cut a piece of clay into a small rectangle. I added a small raised detail on the top to make it look fancy, then I baked everything. When that's baked, I'm going to glue the horseshoe and the horse head onto the base. When that's dry, I'm painting it black with acrylic paint. Then I'm adding silver paint to the top piece. For the last touch, I'm cutting out a small piece of metal from a soda can, then gluing that onto the base. And that was it for this tutorial. Just to let you guys know, all of the links to the websites I've mentioned in this video will be linked down below, so go check those out if you're interested. I really hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful, and if you did, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe. I would really appreciate it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!